Alright, guys. So, been a while since I've done like a fanfiction idea, and this is actually based off of a poll I did not too long ago, talking about like a fanfiction idea involving a which you guys voted on, which was a character encountering a cryptid. The one that won the poll over on Patreon was an Indiana Jones story involving him encountering the Yeti. So I kind of thought about it, and there was another one on there, and actually there were two that did tie, and these were the like two runner-ups. And I kind of thought to myself, you know, there's a lot of good story here, and maybe I can do it as its own thing. So here we are with Batman Eyes of the Mothman. So Batman Eyes of the Mothman is basically what it is. It's Batman encountering the Mothman of cryptozoology. Because when you think cryptids, he's one of the big four. You know, the Mothman is one of the big four. Mothman, Bigfoot, Chupacabra, and Loch Ness Monster. Those are the big four right there. Anyway, so let's get started with the story. So the story begins in one night in Gotham, and Batman is chasing after Killer Moth. He's actually following Killer Moth, who has been basically running around. He's been more or less running around and seeing several areas of the city like in almost like a bizarre pattern. Like Killer Moth has been running around in like a bizarre, strange, just kind of like it's this weird sporadic behavior that has no rhyme or reason. And it's not so much he's running around and taking stuff. It's more like it feels like he's chasing something. It's more like he's trying to find something and trying to, locate something. And whatever it is, Batman wants to find out what it is. So, Batman is on this particular night. He has managed to track down Killer Moth. He chases him down, and he demands, like, what are you doing? What are you doing? And Killer Moth is like, you had to have seen it, like, right? You had to have seen it. Like, tell me you saw it, Batman. You've seen things with the Justice League. You saw it, right? You got to tell me you saw it. And he's like, what do you think I saw? And he's like, you didn't see the eyes? You didn't see the eyes? And he's like, what are you talking about? What eyes? And it's at that point that this Batman feels like this, he almost feels like something's behind him. He turns around, there's nothing, or at least that's what he thinks, is like there's really nothing there. And then off in the distance, a block away, he sees like this shape that he's like, that's not part of the building. It lifts up and look at like these two bright red eyes shine at him, and and then it just flies off. The being flies off, and Batman is like, what the hell was that? And he looks at Killer Moth because he thinks this is connected to him, and he's like, you saw it. You saw it. And he's like, what was that? Did you do that? Is this your doing, Killer Moth? And he's like, no, I've been looking for it. I've seen it around. And Killer Moth is trying to, like, explain that, like, he was the first person in Gotham to, like, one of the first people in Gotham to have seen the creature, like, the being with the red eyes. He was one of the first people to, like, really see it, and it looked at him. And he's like, I know, it's like, I think I know what it is. And Batman is, like, trying to get answers out of him. But Killer Moth is just like, it's here. Like, it's here in Gotham for a reason, and I was trying to figure out what it was. Moths of a feather and all that. And that's when Batman's like, alright, you're going to jail. I have no time for you. But Batman is now, like, looking at what this figure was. He didn't get a good look at it. All he saw were the eyes, and the eyes are really just kind of haunting him. Like, that's the big thing, is that he's having trouble sleeping. He's having trouble, like, all he can really think about when he's, like, trying to concentrate are the red eyes. So are these two red eyes and the figure that flew off. And as he's doing, like, research on the Bat computer, that's when he's, like, putting together it's the fucking Mothman. Like, there's no other explanation other than the closest thing that comes to that description is the Mothman. And Alfred comes in and is like, we're monster hunter. I guess we're monster hunters now, right, Master Bruce? And Batman, like, Bruce tells Alfred, I don't know what I saw. Maybe it's like some robot. Maybe it's an alien shapeshifter. I don't believe that's Mothman. And he's like, of course not. You know, the man who works with a being who can fly out into space and a Martian and a Amazon princess clearly can't believe Mothman's real, right? And he's like, shut up, Alfred. So Batman starts, like, you know, doing research and trying to figure out where this creature came from. Like, he starts digging around. He's, like, listening. But the thing about cryptids is that there isn't really a lot of credible evidence. There isn't a lot of credible stuff. He's like, and Nightwing is kind of, like, making a jab at it. It's like, so you're going to start, like, a cryptid podcast, Bruce? And he's like, I know what I saw, Dick, and you know I don't make things up. Whatever I saw that night, it's still in my mind. And he, like, kind of points out, like, all these quote-unquote other sightings of Mothman, like in the Chicago Mothman, the Owlman in London, the Ukrainian, this is actually, like, another story that actually happened, was there were supposed Mothman sightings in Ukraine days before the meltdown of Chernobyl. Like, yeah, the Chernobyl Mothman. And he's kind of, like, it all goes back to Point Pleasant and the destruction of the tower. Batman's kind of, like, putting all the strings, like, wherever this thing is seen, bad shit happens. Like, really bad shit happens that follows. So I'm trying to figure out what it is. He's like, he consults, he thinks it's an alien at first. He's like, maybe it's like a Durlin or something else. And he's, like, consulting with John Jones, you know, the Martian Manhunter. And John is like, there is nothing that looks like that. He even talks to Hal Jordan. Hal and Martian Manhunter are in the Batcave, and he's, like, showing them this, and he's like, and Hal is like, Bruce, I know what you think you saw, but maybe you got hit with, like, beer toxin, or maybe what you saw was a member of the Court of Owls. And he's like, I wanted to believe that. I've been looking all over the city for it, and it's out there. Like, Bruce tells them that every night he's been on patrol or whatever, it's like watching him. Like, it's like he's seeing other sights, and he's also asked Commissioner Gordon to, like, keep tabs on, like, anything reporting of a being with red eyes and just flying in the night. And Gordon, when he's told that, was like, you looking for, like, someone trying to take your gig? Like, what's going on here? Batman? And Batman is like, the more he's digging into it, the more it's, like, freaking him out. He even goes to, like, when neither Hal nor Jean can really provide answers, he's like, maybe it's magical, and he goes to Constantine and Zatanna, and they're like, we don't know what that is either. So it is pretty much playing with the whole thing of nobody knows what the Mothman is. Is it alien? Is it demon? Is it from another universe? Nobody really knows. So Batman finally is like, I will have to go to the first place it was first seen, and he goes directly to Point Pleasant. And Batman in West Virginia, he just shows up and is like, he sets up a meeting with some of the original witnesses that are still alive, and they're all talking to him, and they're like, well, never thought I'd talk to the Batman before about meeting Mothman, but here you go. And they're like, and one guy who talks to Batman is like, I don't think it's evil, but what I do think it is a harbinger. And if it's in your city, Batman, I think it's trying to tell, and it keeps visiting you and keeps trying to reach out to you, then maybe it's trying to tell you something. So Batman goes back to Gotham, and it's kind of, those kind of thoughts are ringing in his head. And as he's like using the Batplane to fly back to Gotham, he sees something in the clouds, and the thing like spins its head around to look directly at him. And it's the red eyes against the Mothman. So Batman returns to Gotham, and he's like, yeah, whatever, maybe the Mothman is trying, whatever this creature is, it's trying to warn me of some great cataclysm. So, and that's when, like, Alfred's like, why is it trying to... what kind of cataclysm could it tell you that you have not... have we already experienced? Where was this thing when an earthquake happened? Where was this thing when Joker, turned the city upside down for the umpteenth time? Or the Scarecrow made his fear state? Like, what could be so bad that it's trying to warn you and prevent it of something? So... Batman starts connecting the dots, and he starts seeing that, like, it's one of the major Gotham bridges that it's mostly seen around. He's like, oh god. So Batman makes a beeline to the Gotham's oldest bridge, and sure enough, that's where he sees the creature just kind of, like, in the shadows, just kind of watching, and that's when the bridge starts coming apart. Like, so Batman radios in for the rest of the Bat family to help. They manage to keep the bridge from falling and killing anyone, and the creature, like the Mothman, obviously just is like, it just takes off. Like, it was watching him, and it's almost like this time, rather than feel fear or, like, confusion, Bruce feels like this sense of, I did good, and that's what it was like. Batman kind of has this thing of maybe it is like a harbinger, or like it wasn't trying to destroy anything, it was trying to warn me of this. And he like starts to look into Gotham's old like the Gotham construction of the bridge, and sure enough, it's it was criminally backed and cut corners, and it was obviously going to rust over. So yeah. So the Mothman was there to prevent it. Like, it's almost, and Batman makes this thing not Batman. Nightwing makes this thing of maybe it was trying to redeem itself if it couldn't. Maybe it was trying to like redeem itself if it could help. If it could stop another bridge from falling, like it couldn't. Maybe it was trying to stop what it happened. It couldn't by warning these people of what was going to happen at the bridge, and maybe you just helped redeem it, Batman. So. That's kind of the story for Batman Eyes the Mothman. You guys tell me in the comments below, what did you guys think of it? And other than that, I hope you all enjoyed this. I'm Mr. Multiverse. I'll see you next time in Multiverse.